Playing since launch, 100% in the base game, and with over 100 hours played, I haven't thought much about this game besides it was fun, I need a tattoo of Jackie's face prosthetics, and why does Nexus Mods decide that if you want to romance Judy as a male that goes against their term of service, but if you make Pan Am go with a female, it's perfectly okay. But besides that, this game has never really made me think of much about this game. Until Phantom Liberty came out, I had several questions and spiraling with conspiracy theories. From the start of the game, one of the few things that always got me was, why was V so concerned about the deaths of a few random French people, famous net runners, who undoubtedly did a whole bunch of illegal things, including going through the Black Wall and trying to bring out rogue AI? Sorry, I don't think those are good people. And worst of all, they're French.
I'll never forgive the French.
You don't trust French people, like everyone in the world knows that. But besides trying to help the kingpin of Dogtown and, you know, probably leading to the deaths of thousands of people, we should really feel bad about their deaths.
Whoa.
But that also led me to another theory. What if, believe it or not, what if Songbird wasn't the great person she said she was? What if So-Mi from from minute one where she got into your brain and connected to the artifact that had Johnny in it, and kind of just, you know, made you believe that what Reed and the president and all FIA was doing the bad thing. So easily tricking you into thinking that killing these quote-unquote innocent people is why you shouldn't trust them. Why at the end of the day and at the end of the mission, you turn your back on Reed and help her. But that's not why I'm here. And apparently I'm not alone. 1 year ago on Reddit, a post about this exact same ending that I'm thinking about right now asked what the FIA did to V was on purpose and to neutralize her. Well, of course, it's Reddit, so others in the comments thinks it wasn't really that malicious, and V was a useless target that had no worries, no strings attached. Just do her one little thing for her and get her out of there. Or him. But we all know we played a female V. It happens. We all played a female V. It's what goes. But then I started thinking, what if it was much, much worse? Because I've had this idea, this theory, for months. I've been sitting on it, haven't made a video on it. But just knowing that other people has also thought the same thing I did kind of makes me think I am not crazy about thinking this. That I'm not just some random conspiracy theorist. And with the recent announcings of CIA documents being released and NASA releasing their documents, this could have been so much more deeper, and just like what the government would have done before, was lock those secrets away until so much farther in the future where none of it even matters. But with that recent releases of CIA documents and investigations and trials and everything else that's been going on, this is just straight proof that they don't always go out to kill their targets, but to simply ruin their image. Like during the Vietnam War, where the CIA paid millions to artists all around the US who were speaking out against the war, paid them millions of dollars for all their art and all their books, just so the public image, the normal person, the normal 99% people would turn their backs against them, because the second those people became millionaires, your issues were no longer their issues. I believe once the president offered you to join the FIA, it was a test of undying loyalty, especially after Songbird went AWOL against her. Simply seeing if V would or even could replace Songbird and be on her side no matter what. And not to mention, the one fact is, if you don't side with Reed, you leave him alive, his entire job isn't to just stick in Dogtown because the mission failed. His entire job then becomes to hunt you and So-Mi down until he finds you and kills you.
It's not about you and me anymore.
V,
You two
you
are
feeling?
enemies of the NUSA. We, the FIA, we're gonna find you two. You have exactly nowhere to run.
And then you may be thinking, since the beginning if V was not so important, why was Reed so focused on having to kill you? Why would he even entertain the thought of even hunting you down when his entire job should be then going to the moon and saving me in his eyes? You help Reed survive, you bring her back to the president, and you learn, hey, he gets the fancy job, the cozy job of training the new hires at FIA. But I don't believe that was really what his main job is. Sure, on paper, on tax forms, his job is to train the new hires, to be the role model, to be the one that brings them back to be successful agents. I don't believe that was his true title or even true intentions that the president laid out. It is my belief that Reed's secret job was to actually keep you under wrap and keeps. Because who do you wake up first? Despite being it 2 years in the future, no contact, you're unconscious for 2 years and is for some reason still in the same hospital room even though he should be training the new recruits? He's by your side and immediately offers for you to not go back to Night City and to instead join him as an FIA agent and stay in the office. If V was so unimportant and not a loose end, Reed should have gotten that cozy job no matter your decision. So I believe Reed's main task isn't to train the new hires or really anything else on paper. But I really believe the president had other ideas. The whole point of bringing you into the FIA, taking you out of Night City, was not just to let this random merc live out their life and to someday maybe tell the president's secrets and let this huge expose come out to what she did. But now that V knows pretty much the exact same secrets that the president does, he needs that job. He's the only one who can do that job. President's game at the end of this mission, as you can say, was not to kill V. Because if that info got leaked, it would only lead to so much more problems if one of the legends of Night City all of a sudden got killed by a random merc in the street, or that the president let her die in her watch. Because no. The president's goal was always to simply kill her public relations with Night City. And in Night City, to be a legend, the reputation has to follow. From the start of the game, you learn one thing. Your reputation is what set your value as a legend in Night City. Fixers gave you more jobs, got you better cars. You became what V always wanted to become, which was the biggest name that she or he could ever be in the eyes of everyone. So imagine getting killed by a random net runner or a merc or just anything that wasn't another Atom Smasher. That would stir up more troubles for both the FIA, the president, and Reed himself than if you were to simply become a nobody. Since So-Mi even knew everything about V and Johnny from the start of Dogtown's introduction, I would have zero doubts that at the same time, the FIA would also discover what V would become. Sure, the president didn't know who the hell V was or just who Songbird was sending to her rescue. But to tell me that none of these wiretaps that the entire US government of Cyberpunk didn't look into who this random merc is that is sending to the president would be in no way safe in that instance. They would have to be background checked in seconds to even think about letting that person near the president. Because what if I was just another Dogtown person that just happened to have a really good chip in my brain? And then I would just go like, you know what? Let's just kill the president because I work for Dogtown. I am another fist in the government. Well, you bring the target back alive. You don't say you were involved. You just let this random merc that can no longer have powers, no longer have cyberware, and no longer have access to using that chip in her head. Or his head. And to just simply believe that after discovering that at the end of the job you need to get this surgery to get this huge experimental artifact into play out of your head so that you can live, and then at the same time just tell Arasaka, hey, we have this highly classified document and device that you were trying to hide, but we just happen to have it now, and we're just going to give it to you without copying down any of the secrets that you left. I think that would probably accidentally start another war with Arasaka, saying, hey, now the government has our project. The government saw it, they discovered it, and they have notes on it. And saying, oh no, I didn't do that. We don't have that. Not going to make sense for any high power government or even any high power military asset such as Arasaka. And at this point of the game, you and Johnny become good enough friends to where Johnny's at that point of living and saying, hey, here is my deepest secrets. I will try to actually not take over your body, and me and you, we're going to ride until I eventually die and get out of your head. If you simply pull that device out of their head, put it back into another machine, and try to tear it apart, pick and probe at it, an AI, or even the living soul, as they say it, of Johnny, would not just allow this to happen. He already has his own objective, is to get past the black wall, get to Alt, and eventually free themselves from this. So having Johnny believe that there's no way that he can't stop this, even though in the beginning of the game, we saw him fully taking over V's body without permission, there's only going to be one way that this FIA is going to be able to use Johnny properly, use this information, use this technology, and get farther than what Arasaka had planned so far. There'd be no doubt in my mind that at some point Johnny would have taken over, whether it would have been digitally, physically, or even just ... Morse codes. The only way you're going to get Johnny and this chip to coincide exist with FIA's plan of probably taking this shard and using it as their own military operation. Because face it, you can bring back the greatest generals that you have, you can bring back the greatest assets of the government and just put them inside another body. That is not technology you're just going to give back to Arasaka when you can have it yourself, improve it yourself, and do everything you want for yourself. So to get Johnny's approval and Johnny's cooperation with this matter, having V live is going to be the only outcome that this AI program is going to allow to happen. Yeah, you can like pick it apart and try to figure out yada yada yada, but having the actual source of itself come into play is what's going to make this work. You give up this soulless merc that no longer has any power, zero influence into the world, and say, there you go, you are alive. And Johnny can easily see and tell that V lived through this, V got out, V left. Will then be easily be able to say, you know what? You can prod at this chip all you want, I will not defend it. So I know all of this is really easily a far stretch. It's a video game. There's no way that everyone thought of every possible scenario. There's only two worthwhile truths. One, no happy endings. Two, corporations lie. They will betray anybody if it means getting an edge against their opponents. Militech does this to you at the start of the tutorial by rigging a money chip. They give it to you, tell you, hey, this is worth 10,000 eddies, give it to Royce, and you will get, for some reason, the same Militech drone operation that they don't care about having, but are just willing to give you a 10,000 credit chip to just give it to you. No questions asked, no strings attached. They're just going to give you 10,000 credits and say, take our bot, and that's the end of the story. But no, you kind of live to learn to see, hey, this is an affected chip. It's going to kill Royce and probably kill you as a result. But they don't care about that. They aren't going to tell you about that. Hell, even if you play as a Corpo V, you still get betrayed by Arasaka. You get led to believe, hey, this is just a simple little errand you got to run and tie up some loose ends. But nope, they take everything from you, they drain your bank account, and beat the shit out of you. But, you know, they still let you live. They realize killing you isn't going to solve the problem. Draining everything you have and letting you become just another spit-shine bootlicker is a lot better than making you a possible martyr and for that murder to get attached back to the company. And that still doesn't escape V's problems. At the end of the game, when you're helping Hanako, she's just believing she can help you, she can take care of you. But then it's ult to finally lay down on you. Arasaka can't help you. They were never going to help you. You are going to die if you keep this chip. But to them, that didn't matter. Slicing the truth, saying they can try something, doesn't exactly mean that it's going to be 100% success. But if you help Hanako, she'll tell you that he's going to help you. For that 2-year span where, for some reason, V didn't tell a single soul where she was going, should have been the first sign that something wasn't right. Whether it was Somi's little virus that she put in you and probably didn't tell you, or if it was the way that Reed got into your brain, or any way whatsoever, V not telling a single person, not Rogue, not Judy, Mama Wells, Vic, or even a loved character, to where you spent the entire game romancing until you finally got that day where you can have that one awkward scene where you hope your parents don't walk. And why is that out of character for V, I say? Because she waited no time after making friends, after making Pan Am an ally, after making Judy an ally, even going to Victor. She told him exactly what happened, told everyone, hey, I have a split personality going on where this chip in my brain is slowly killing me, and I need to storm Arasaka Tower to get it out. So everyone knows about this tower. Everyone knows about your issue. Everyone knows you're trying to get help to get this out. So why is V telling every single person, I'm going on vacation, I'm just going to take a little trip for 2 months, I'll be back, don't worry about me? And yet no one saw that as a red flag. They're just going on vacation. They're just going to take a little vacation instead of hopefully getting this thing fixed out. So, let's say those few endings, those original few endings. You let Johnny take over? Sure, people can tell, like, hey, you're acting a little weird and not saying anything, but everyone knows you stormed that tower. You went in. Whether or not they know you lived through it, they still think that you are alive, and that whatever happened in that tower has led to your disappearance. Whether it's, hey, realizing that maybe storming Arasaka's tower actually led to an entire army, an entire private army to hunt you down, is probably the best way to get out of Night City as you still have your life, because hopefully you did your mission. No one's malicious, no one thinks that you were just pissing them off. Hell, even Rogue will find out if Johnny's the one that fully took over your body. No one is mad at V for any reason whatsoever for their decision. But that all changes with Phantom Liberty's ending, where everybody hates you, no one knows where you're at, and they didn't even spend 10 minutes to try to find you. So you're going to trust this huge government, which is full of lies and conspiracies already, where you already saw that they would betray their greatest asset, tear away their greatest asset's physical life to where they can only become a machine that helps the president. You're going to trust them to just put you under, open your brain for surgery, and to safely remove that chip with 0 consequences. And that's where I believe Phase 1 came out of this whole thing, which was somehow tricking or getting inside of V's mind to not think about these odd decisions that, even as a second thought looking at it, makes no sense. Not telling a single person where you're going, not giving a single person, hey, these are the people you need to call in case something happens, or even thinking that they might actually die in the operating table. No surgery is 100%. There could be something wrong. You can get a blood clot. There could be an error that happens and they don't notice one little thing, so they patch it back up, turn your body back on, and V is all of a sudden fried after just seeing that, hey, it was actually not safe to remove this chip, but they did anyway. And then after that, convincing V, or somehow even tricking V's mind to thinking that all these possible red flags aren't there, became Phase 2 of the plan. The disconnection. Phase 2 of the plan, I believe, was discretion. Let's start with let's get some bigger points into there, right? Let's go with Rogue. Probably the best night fixer in Night City. Probably the person that would be able to call anyone and get any information that they want found. Having the money, the resources, everybody, single person would be able to get Rogue the information she wants. And even then, when you came back, Rogue knew the entire time you were in fact not dead. There wasn't a point where you randomly got killed.
Used to be quite a lot of talk about your exploits at the afterlife. Even had a few folks gunning for you to have your own concoction on the menu. Maybe we leave them secure in their convictions. Maybe that's better.
So if you were killed, probably the first person who would have found out would have been Rogue. Rogue would have been the one to find out that, hey, we can put V's name in my drink menu. We can make the legend become a drink. Because in Afterlife, there's only one way to get your name on a drink menu item. That's to die.
Say I wanted a drink named after me. What would I have to do?
Snuff it. Mind-blowingly spectacular fashion. It ought to be better.
We see everyone else's. We see David's. We see Johnny's. We see Jackie's name become a specialized drink inside the menu. Because they were all confirmed dead. They were legends of Night City who were prematurely killed. And the entire time, Rogue never decided to put your name on that drink because she knew you were not dead. But if you were known to be killed by a merc or killed in some legendary way, which would have been more fitting for the type of character V was, their drink would have been on that menu the second she got that information. And now let's go with Pan Am, your ride or die girl that's willing to risk her entire clan. You know, the whole point of her mission of coming back to Saul, rebuilding relationships with everyone inside, stealing another Militech device, a fucking tank, and then just saying, yeah, this person who got me a tank, made me a co-leader with Saul, and rebuilt my family from the ground up, all of a sudden a piece of shit that I don't want to talk to. The only way someone could convince a ride or die like Pan Am is to convince that V didn't care about Pan Am. That this entire time, this was just for her chip, or his chip. It wasn't to help Pan Am become the great person she is. It's to get her own ending. To get his own satisfaction of getting that chip out. So if you slowly started placing rumors that you went after another nomad clan, helped them become a little bit more powerful to take out Pan Am's clan, or to just believe that there was no friendship in that everything V did in their life, saying, oh yeah, I heard V helped the nomad to steal a tank because they were going to figure out about the tank and to blow up Arasaka Tower, but V found somebody else and decided to just skip town of that clan and become a new person, to get a new gang. I myself, who had a friend stole hundreds of dollars from me, tried selling my PC that I gave to them back to me. I gave them a free computer, and they're like, hey, if you give me $700, I'll give you the computer back. Hell, even called me a bad friend just because I didn't fake a doctor's note and drive to their house to deliver it to them. They called me a bad friend, but if that friend would ever call me and say they're in trouble, they need help, I'll be there immediately. The ride or die attitude just does not say you become unacquainted friends with this person. You completely ignore them. You block every call. You tell your best friend, Mitch, in the game, who thinks you are also still kind of a great person, but sees Pan Am be, you know, kind of a dick to you, is telling you, don't call us, don't even try to reach out. You will never have a connection with this family again. Which is still at a very, very odd point for someone like that, for any attitude, for even Saul, who knows how much of an outcast Pan Am was, but still believed in her at the end of the day. He still believed that she could do great things for this family. Whether it was stealing her tank, which was he not proud of, where we even helped save his life, where he was once again like, why are you here to save me? You should be just leading this family to another life, another city, another state. But he still was like, hey, V, you helped us so much. If you want me to get everyone inside this family to blow up Arasaka Tower, I got you. Now, my favorite lesbian of Night City, Judy. I happened to romance her during my first playthrough with a female, and so I probably got the saddest ending possible with her after hearing that after 2 years, she moved on, moved to Pittsburgh, got a new life, got a new wife, and said, hey, wish you were here, but don't come to Pittsburgh after me. So, it's not too far of a stretch with Judy, in my opinion, that saying hey, I'm going to disappear for a little bit, even though we were both talking about leaving Night City together, possibly starting a new life away from this if V decided not to be the merc anymore, and that V wanted to live a happy van traveling days with her lesbian boyfriend, girlfriend person. It's not too much of a stretch to think the FIA knew about that, figured that out, went through V's chat logs with Judy, went through their calls, and learned about this information. And having this person who you cared about so much, who's also very at peace with the idea that, yeah, she's going to be mad at V for leaving her like this, but also understood that maybe her words carried weight and that V just wanted to leave Night City. She didn't want to leave just Judy alone. She wanted to leave everyone alone. She didn't want anyone in her life. So, of course, she moves on. She doesn't worry about it. She learns through a few things that, hey, I'm hearing these stories about a merc who was super apparently wanted, got into another life, maybe started a few ruckuses where it was like, you know what, that's something V would have done. That's probably where V went. There's no way V is dead because V left. There's no reason for me to check cameras or to find out what happened because V just decided to leave for the last of her life. But if you would have just said V got killed in Night City, or that V went to the Panama Canal and got drowned by a shark, Judy would have been like, yeah, that's kind of weird. We're going to look into this and find all these reports, find all these footage, find everything that would have been, hey, V got taken by the FIA, got taken by the government, and all of a sudden disappeared.
Hey, don't you doze off.
I know the more I talk about this, the more it actually feels like I'm a conspiracy theorist and that, like, I'm thinking way too fucking deep inside a video game that ultimately said, hey, we're going to have one DLC and then call it good. But that's just me. I think way too much about these things. Alright. These next few reasons, I will not lie, I'm just going to kind of like brisk over because they're pretty easy. They're pretty easy to figure out. Carrie, you know, the master musician, the global artist, just simply fell into the same hole that the CIA did to other artists that were back-talking them or trying to, like, destroy what they were trying to do, which was just make Carrie incredibly rich and so incredibly world famous that the idea that, hey, maybe something bigger is going on with V than I realize and I could just spend a few million and get in a private investigator to find out where V went. But no, I got an entire world tour. I got cities, I got nations, I got countries where Carrie has to leave, where Carrie cannot spend time looking into this because he has to make new music, he has to work with that pop group, he has to figure out how he can still be on top of the world that they placed him on and are knowing that they're not going to take him out. And I've been in the touring industry. I've done a few tours with other bands like I Prevail, Bad Flower, a few others, but anytime a family member, let's just say, was in a coma for years and then all of a sudden, hey, they popped into life, that band can easily just cancel a tour, can cancel 2 or 3 shows to go get their friend back and to see them. Bad Omens did it, and they were like, hey, our mental health, we are so tired from touring for a straight year, we need to cancel this next huge tour because we can't take it right now. Most of the world was fine with that. No one really batted an eye or two. Then, of course, you have, like, Jennifer Lopez did the same thing. Miley Cyrus even did the same thing, where their mental health and their families became a priority over tour. But because of how intensely I believe Carrie was indoctrinated into this new global stardom, he never really looked into V's issues. And once V got the call, he was like, I can come find you later. I know where you're at now. It doesn't matter now. So he never cares. He doesn't worry about it because he has a massive worldwide tour to worry about. And I will say Carrie is also my favorite romance in this game. Simply, 1, because he reminds me of my husband. And 2, they do essentially the same thing. So it's kind of like, that's a piece of me still inside the video game. Just saying. But on the complete opposite spectrum, Ward. I don't care about Ward. I will say that from the ground up. I did not care about Ward. He is such an annoying person. He even tries to trick you as a female V to just having calm dinner with his family. Then all of a sudden, his sister's like, hey, who thinks that Ward and V should start dating? Yeah, fuck that guy. He's such a weirdo. But anyways, his whole problem is that because of what you did to help his nephew, all of a sudden there's a bunch of trauma and there's isn't any way to help him. Like, his nephew's in such deep, horrible pain and probably everything else mentally and physically going on that he can't do anything about it. And yes, there's still the idea that maybe he'll go into huge ass debt, but then also because it's currently December 2024, we also know about Luigi and the CEO. So like, I'm also starting to doubt that idea that maybe they just packed on so much debt and said, hey, the only way you're going to get out of this debt is if you create another scandal and do such a horrible illegal activity that you have to go on the run, that every single entity out there is going to try to hunt you down. But we won't tell you that, but we'll make sure that you don't have to pay for any of your medical bills if you give us this information. Yeah, it's going to make a desperate man do desperate things. We learned that in this world. We learned this a few weeks ago. We learned this months ago. We learned this throughout history, where enough money being thrown on the table and anyone will do anything horrible. We cannot forget about Vic, the best Ripper in Night City, according to V. I mean, if you see a shop, it's not really that great. And most of the legendary items you can get in the game are not from Vic, so I don't really know how that adds up. But the whole point is, Vic is V's Ripper Doc. Vic is the Ripper Doc for V. If V was going to get anything done, even going to their first point of contact was Vic. Is like, hey, I am shot. I am going to die. I have this virus in my head that I cannot get rid of. I need your help. And then the first thing Vic does is go, hey, I got you, boo. Unfortunately, I can't save you, but here's like 3 options I can give you to help you out here. Not to mention, you also have like technically like several thousand Eddie debt to Vic. And if you wanted to, the entire game, you don't have to pay Vic back. There's never one point in the game where Vic's like, hey, you are such a badass merc now. I need those Eddies back from you so that we can be square. You can go the entire game without paying him back, and he will still call you and go, hey, what's your issues going on right now? I want to be there. I want to be your friend. I want to help you out the best way I can. Never gets a call. FIA doesn't even call him about V's medical history, even though Vic is V's main asset and everything. He's the one that implanted every implant she's gotten, technically. But you're going to tell me FIA doesn't at all contact Vic and be like, hey, what's all the cybernetics you gave? What are these, like, master and slave codes that are programmed with these parts so that we can have them very easily accessible so we can help with this surgery that's going on? None of that. Not even like emergency contact going like, hey, V kind of went to a coma. We need to know like some kind of next of kin kind of thing or emergency contact to, you know, so we know V's alive and here's where V's at. No, it doesn't happen. What does happen, very strangely, right after you leave, that's when all the bad shit starts happening to Vic. He's experiencing break-ins. Misty's going on paranoia runs because, once again, V's gone, and that no one's coming to Misty's shop and is leading customers away. Then all of a sudden, you're getting all these big exclusive contracts with other Ripper companies are saying, hey, Militech here, hey, Biotechnica here, we want to buy your business, and if you don't, bad things are going to happen to you. Like, it is an underground shop. Vic's shop is not a great shop. It's hardly even considered a shop. It probably would have been easier to just burn down his building and then have Vic become homeless. But Vic would still then have contacts. Vic will still have his own need then to go find V because this is unusual. But instead, other companies, other corpos are coming to his business, roughing him up a little bit until he signs a new contract. A contract that sells everything Vic is and has him constantly around the clock helping their assets, helping their customers. Vic can no longer spend time looking into this issue his own. He has to deal with the new contract, or else he'll get probably killed if he doesn't do it.
It's are you running late?
I can't now, Tyler. Drop in tomorrow.
Drop in tomorrow.
This is my friend. No affiliation to the firm. Come back later, please. It's important to me.
You got it wrong, man. You're
Gotta pay you, Vic.
So it's an entire easy way to get rid of V's oldest friend that knows all of V's oldest histories. Could easily contact other people that knows about V to stir up some trouble. But once he got too busy for V, couldn't do anything. Not even to mention Arasaka. I've hardly mentioned Arasaka in this video. But I don't believe that Arasaka would just hear or find out with their own net runners, their own black wall technology, would not find out that V went to the FIA and the FIA has the chip. So if the entire thing is found out that V died, FIA has the chip, the US government's going to take control of this technology you are trying to preserve and hide. It's going to end up bad. But if V lives, they get V, they kill V, they get that chip back. Or even if they see the chips it's still technically in there and it's fully destroyed, and that's the reason why V no longer has powers. V can no longer wield a gun. V can no longer hack into enemy AI. They're just going to simply put it down as this other company tried to get it out, couldn't. Now our target that was a missing loose end for Arasaka's entire new family tree, it's over. They don't have to deal with it anymore. But let's just say all this is a super far stretch. No government in the history of the world would ever try to trick the population, trick the populace to believe that, oh, this random merc who has all this super secret information would just walk away. That all this classified documents that they now technically know can just leave, go to the biggest fixer in Night City and be like, hey, here's some cool information I found about the president that we can maybe use as blackmail, or even just flip this entire world upside down. Sure, let's just believe that. That all their friends knew about it, all his friends knew about it, there was nothing to worry about, because, you know, the most powerful entity inside Night City is no way going to start another corporal war to where now we know how dirty the president is. There's no way this is going to dirty up the political system. It's just a random person with all this knowledge, technically in their brain, stored, artifacted, and could later be encrypted out. But yeah, you know, they're just going to let them walk away. Or you could do one other thing. Take out V's closest assets. Take out any reputation, any credentials that V has. The moment V leaves FIA quarters and goes back to Night City, V's apartment is way overdue. Technically, there's still a Delamain cab that V takes, but depending on V's actions, either doesn't care about V and just a reprogrammed AI, or it's just one of those weird talking ones where they feel very sympathetic with V. But yet they have no netrunners on their side, no fixers on their side, doesn't have hair anywhere, doesn't have any more cybernetics that could hack your brain to death or speed up your own speed so fast that it looks like you're standing still for them. V is essentially a deer with 4 broken legs, just sent out back to the world. Yeah, no other pasture is going to take in that deer because that deer is going to die. Any other deer that saw V as an enemy can beat him up. You see that. V goes to Vix, and then once V leaves Vix, V can't do anything against the few random street thugs who probably don't have 2 Eddies to their name. It was a dying gazelle just left on the street for the king of the jungle, Arasaka, to finish up their own scraps. Who's going to listen to some bald maniac screaming about the government took their powers away, the government rob them. We saw what happened there. We had our boy sitting on the street in front of Misty's shop screaming about there's reptilians controlling the government.
Are not human, no. But then what, you ask? Reptilian!
And like, V is just going to be him. V is just going to be the person that's sleeping on the street on a soaked mattress, screaming that the government fakes deaths and crash into Dogtown. No one's going to believe that. V would have been able to topple the government, probably start another world war, would have made the impeachment of the current president a thing. Would have stirred up so much controversies, and then just say, hey, Arasaka, you know that chip you wanted? Well, I'm dead, and FIA is the reason for it, and no, you cannot find my body to receive that chip again. And just like So-Mi, they did the same thing to her. So when she died, there was no one to look into it. It was just someone who stabbed their backs and chose a government over their own friends. And afterwards, on the final credit roll, he tells you he's living in regret. He doesn't believe what he did to So-Mi was right. He doesn't think that what his choice was going to be the decision to make everything better.
We did right. That I know. Why do I keep asking myself if I could have done things differently? You saw what she's capable of. I had to stop her. And maybe punish myself.
Whether you joined him in the FIA after his offers or not, he knows what he did was wrong. So he's going to spend his time, even after being told you are now V's watchdog, whether V accepts it or not, you're going to watch over them just like you did So-Mi and redeem yourself. This is a redemption for Reed in his own light. So, making V a defenseless, perkless, friendless, empty shell to any government, to anyone trying to blackmail a person to never speak about them again, is way more powerful than killing them. Sacrifice this research, this time, the effort, the money. Governments hate giving handouts to people in the first place. So why would they give this handout to this random merc that they could just ditch into the city and call it good? Yet they're going to risk everything to maybe get your brain back in order, but probably knew in the beginning that that brain inside of V's body that has the chip belongs to Arasaka, and just say, you know what, we're just going to help you anyways. Fuck Arasaka. It's not going to happen. So, for the conclusion of this whole part, V's experienced through the surgery, the life that became of V afterwards was part of the plan. V was meant to live. V was never going to die on that table, even though that chip should have been the first priority. Sure, they could have extracted the chip and still had V live, but V would still have all those stories, and then Arasaka would be looking and going, alright, here's this other entity that knows everything about Soul Killer and could expose us through propaganda through the net. Not good. Or it could have been V dies, Arasaka finds out, and that Hanako's brother is going to be like, you know what? The government has that chip then. The government has it, and we're going to start another war to make sure that they can't do anything with it. Or you let V live, you take everything that made V into what they are. Every asset, every friend, every gift, every power, every cybernetic. That Night City, there are no happy endings. You either fade out obscurity or you die a legend.